This is the live podcast with Manuel, living in full expression. Welcome to the live podcast with me, your host Manuel. And in today's episode, I just wanted to share with you something that hit me like a brick last week. Christmas just happened, and I'm sure you enjoyed your Christmas. And if you're like me, you spent weeks preparing for it, shopping for gifts, planning the meals, coordinating travel, decorating, wrapping, organizing, building anticipation. And then December 25th arrived. And you know what I realized? The day itself, Christmas itself, was beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't match the excitement I felt during all those weeks of preparation. The actual day was good, but the preparation, that was magical. The searching for the perfect gifts, the wrapping it just right, anticipating someone's reactions, the planning of the meal, the journey to get there. That was where the joy lived. And as I was sitting on Boxing Day reflecting on this, it hit me. This is exactly how achievement works. This is exactly how success works. This is exactly how transformation works. The process of getting there is more impactful than arriving, not because the destination doesn't matter, but because the journey is what builds you into someone who can appreciate the destination. And in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing the lesson I learned during Christmas and what it taught me about success and why this changes everything about how you should approach 2026. So if you're ready, let's get started. So let me paint the picture for you. For weeks before Christmas, I was excited. Every gift my wife and I bought, I imagined the person's face when they open it. Every meal we planned, I thought about everyone gathered around the table. The preparation had energy, it had meaning, it had purpose. And then Christmas Day came. And don't get me wrong, it was lovely. Family time together, gift exchange, good food, laughter. But by mid-afternoon, I caught myself thinking, so is this it? Not because Christmas wasn't good, but because the anticipation, the preparation, the building towards it, that's where I felt most alive. Boxing Day, I sat with this feeling and realized I wasn't disappointed in Christmas. I was experiencing what happens when you finally arrive at something you've been building towards. The arrival is a moment, the journey is a transformation. And here's what changed everything for me. And this is how all goals work. This is how all achievement works. You think you want the outcome, but what you actually want is who you become in the process of pursuing it. I'm going to share with you the destination versus the journey mindset. Most people approach goals like this. I will be happy when I lose 30 pounds. I will feel successful when I launch my business. I will feel fulfilled when I hit 6 figures. I will be satisfied when I finish writing the book. And that is destination thinking. I will be complete when I arrive. But here's the truth nobody's telling you. The arrival never feels as good as you think it will. Because by the time you arrive, you are a different person than you started the journey. The version of you that wanted the goal isn't the same version that achieved it. You've grown, you've changed, you've evolved. And that evolution, that's the real gift, not the outcome. The transformation that happened while pursuing the outcome, that's the real gift. Think about it. The entrepreneur who builds a successful business doesn't just gain revenue, they gain confidence, resilience, problem-solving skills, leadership capacity. The person who loses 30 pounds doesn't just gain a different body, they gain discipline, self-awareness, the ability to delay gratification. The writer who finishes a book doesn't just gain a published work, they gain the identity of someone who finishes what they start. So the process builds character, the outcome just confirms it. So here are the 3 lessons I learned from Christmas that I'm taking into 2026. Lesson number 1. The preparation is the celebration. I thought Christmas Day was the celebration, but the real celebration was every day leading up to it. Every gift wrapped with care. Every meal prepared with intention. Every moment of anticipation. That was the celebration. In 2026, I'm not waiting until I arrive to celebrate. I'm celebrating the daily work, the process, the progress, the showing up, the becoming. Because that's where life actually happens, not at the finish line. It's the preparation. Lesson number 2. Arrival creates a vacuum. When Christmas ended, there was this sense of, now what? The goal was achieved. The day arrived. Now what do I build toward? This is what happens when you are only focused on outcomes. You achieve the thing, then you feel empty because you lost the process that gave you the purpose. In 2026, I'm not just setting goals, I'm building systems and identities that continue beyond any single outcome. So when I arrive at one destination, I'm already engaged in the next journey. Not because I can't be satisfied, not at all, but because I've learned to love the building more than the arrival. Lesson number 3. The joy is the becoming, not the being. Here's the deepest lesson. I wasn't excited about having Christmas. I was excited about preparing for Christmas. The doing, the creating, the building, the anticipation. That's where joy lives. Not in being successful, but in becoming successful. Not in having the business, but in building the business. Not in being fit, but in becoming fit. The present tense, the active verb, the transformation in process. The transformation is progress. That's where you feel most alive. Because you're not static. You're growing, you're evolving, you're moving towards something. And humans are wired for growth, not arrival. So how do you actually apply this? How do you enter 2026 focused on the journey and not just the destination? Here's a framework I'm going to share with you. Step number 1, reframe your goals as identities. I shared this in the previous episode, so you can go back and listen to it again. Instead of, I want to launch my business in 2026, you say, I'm becoming an entrepreneur who builds and launches. Instead of, I want to lose 30 pounds, you can say, I'm becoming someone who takes care of their body. Instead of, I want to create consistent content, you can say, I'm becoming a creator. Notice the difference. One is about arriving, one is about becoming. When you frame it as identity, the process is the goal. And every day you show up, you are succeeding because you're being that person. Step number 2, design processes you actually enjoy. Here's where most people fail. They design processes they hate, hoping the outcome will be worth it. But I want to tell you that's backwards. If you hate the process, you will quit before you arrive, or you will arrive miserable. In 2026, design processes you genuinely enjoy. If you hate the gym, don't force yourself to go. Find movements you love. Examples could be dancing, you could hike, play sports, or even swim. If you hate writing blog posts, don't force it. Make videos instead. Record audio. Have conversations. The best process is one you would do even if there was no outcome attached, because that's sustainable, that's transformation, and that's life. Step number 3, celebrate the daily wins, not just the big milestones. This is the Christmas lesson applied. I was celebrating every gift wrapped, every meal planned, every detail prepared. I wasn't waiting for December 25th to feel joy. So in 2026, celebrate daily. I showed up to write today. That's a win. I chose the workout over the couch. That's a win. I had a difficult conversation. That's a win. I finished one small task. That's a win. These aren't steps towards the goal. These are the goal, because the goal is becoming someone who shows up, and you are doing that, not tomorrow. You're doing that today. Step number 4, build momentum through small, consistent action. Big outcomes feel far away. That's demotivating. But daily actions, that's immediate, that's tangible, that's controllable. In 2026, focus on what you can control today. Not, I need to write a book. That's overwhelming. But I write 500 words today. That's achievable. Not I need to build a 6-figure business. That's abstract. But I reach out to 5 potential clients today. That's concrete. The daily action builds momentum. Momentum builds identity. Identity creates outcomes. But it starts with today, just today. Step number 5, detach from the timeline. Here's the freedom. When you love the process, the timeline doesn't matter as much. If you're becoming a creator, it doesn't matter if the audience grow fast or slow. You are created either way. And that's the point. If you're becoming someone who takes care of their body, it doesn't matter if you lose 30 pounds in 3 months or 12 months, you are showing up daily. That's the transformation. Detaching from the timeline removes pressure. It removes the "am I there yet" anxiety. You're never there. You're always becoming, and that's not a problem. That's a gift. All right. Here's what I need you to understand, and I call this the arrival paradox. I'm not saying outcomes doesn't matter. They do. They definitely do. But outcomes are confirmations of transformations, not the transformation itself. Let me tell you what happens when you finally arrive. You achieve the goal, you hit the milestone, you cross the finish line, and you feel good for a moment. Then, almost immediately, one of 2 things happens. Number 1, the letdown. I worked so hard for this, and now that I'm here, it doesn't feel like I thought it would be. This happens when you were all focused on the outcome. The process was something to endure, not enjoy. So when you arrived, you realize the journey was painful and the arrival is just a moment, not what. And then the option number 2 is the hunger. I did it. That was amazing. What's next? This happens when you fell in love with the process. The outcome is satisfying, yes, but you are already excited about the next journey because you learned the building is where you feel alive. So, you are ready to build again. Different goal, same love of the process. So which person do you want to be? I spent years being person number 1, grinding towards outcome, hating the process, arriving exhausted and unsatisfied. And now I'm becoming person number 2, in love with the building, the daily showing up, the becoming. And when I arrive, it's a celebration, but it's not the end. It's a milestone in a much longer, much richer journey. That's who I'm being in 2026, and that's who I'm inviting you to become. So here's what I'm asking you to do. As you enter 2026, stop asking, what do I want to achieve? Start asking, who do I want to become? And would I enjoy the process of becoming that person? Because if the answer is no, you hate the process, you'll quit or you'll arrive miserable. But if the answer is yes, if you genuinely enjoy the daily work, then you've already won. Every day you show up, you are succeeding because the process is the goal. The outcome, that's just the cherry on the top. But the real gift is who you become while building toward it. The patience you develop, the resilience you built, the discipline you practiced, the character you forged. That's what lasts. That's what transforms your entire life. Not the outcome, but the person you became in pursuit of it. All right, let me warn you about the mistakes that kill this approach. Mistake number 1, designing a process you hate, hoping the outcome is worth it. It's not. You will quit or arrive broken. Rather, design processes you genuinely enjoy. Mistake number 2, only celebrating outcomes and ignoring daily wins. This trains your brain to only feel successful at the finish line. That's 1% of your life. Rather, celebrate the daily 99%. Mistake number 3, rushing the process to get the outcome faster. You can't rush transformation. Character is built in the repetition, the consistency, the time. Rather, you need to trust. Trust the pace. Trust the process. Mistake number 4, comparing your process to someone else's outcome. You see their finish line. You don't see their years of building, so stay in your lane. Trust your own journey. Mistake number 5, thinking someday you will enjoy the process. No, if you don't enjoy it now, you may not enjoy it later. Rather find a different process or find a different goal. So here are your action plans for this episode. This week, review your 2026 goals, reframe them as identities. And for each identity, ask, would I enjoy the daily process of becoming this person? If no, redesign the process or choose a different identity. Then identify one daily action you can do that you'd enjoy even without an outcome. Commit to celebrating daily wins starting January 1st. And then in the next 30 days, focus on process, not outcomes. Daily actions over distant goals. Celebrate every day you show up. That's the real win. Then you track transformation, not just results. Journal who you're becoming. Design your days around processes you would love and detach yourself from the timelines. You are becoming and not arriving. And I want you to remember this. Christmas taught me the preparation was more exciting than the day itself. Not because Christmas wasn't good, but because the building, the anticipating, the preparing, that's where I felt most alive. In 2026, you are not grinding towards outcome. You're building a life you love living every single day. Not someday when you arrive, but today in the process. All right. So in closing, here's what I know about you. You've been so focused on getting somewhere that you forgot to enjoy where you are. You've been so obsessed with the finish line that you missed the beauty of the journey. You've been so determined to arrive that you forgot that arriving is a moment. The becoming is a lifetime. 2026 isn't about achieving more. It's about becoming someone who loves the process of achieving. Because that's sustainable, that's fulfilling, and that's transformation. The goal isn't to cross finish lines and then search for the next one. The goal is to fall so deeply in love with the building that the finish line becomes celebration along the way, not the destination. Christmas showed me this. The preparation was the gift. The day was just the wrapping paper. In 2026, don't wait for the big goal or for the big day to celebrate. Celebrate the preparation, the daily work, the showing up, the becoming. That's where life happens. Not at the destination, but in the journey. And I look forward to seeing who you become in 2026. This has been the Life Podcast with me, your host, Manuel. And until I see you in our next episode, keep living in full expression.